Right now, it is time to bring in Macey Levin from the Aglettheatre Company. They have another production coming up at Dewey Memorial Hall in Sheffield. It is coming up on April the 6th. The doors open at 2 and 7 p.m. That's right, two shows, and 2 and 7 p.m. for complimentary beverages and refreshments. And the reading begins at about 2:30 and 7:30. All right, so two shows on April 6th. And let's bring in Macey Levin and find out what the show is. Morning, Macey.
Good morning, Marshall. How you doing?
Very nice of you to join us early this morning.
I've been up for hours in anticipation.
Or trepidation.
Maybe both.
That's right. Well, it's nice to speak to you again. And,
you too.
And you have another show date, April 6th, two shows at Dewey Hall. What's the show this time?
The show is Marjorie Prime. It was a play by Jordan Harrison. It was made into a movie several years ago. It takes place sometime in the future, focused on a family, some of whom have been computer-generated. And it is science fiction, but in addition to the science fiction element, it's also about simple humanity and relations among people within a family. It is a very insightful, touching piece of work. The science fiction element is sort of an overlay of the appeal to one's humanity.
How do the characters interact in this? You mentioned, I take computer generated. I mean, so how do the characters interact, and who are the characters, the main characters in this?
Okay, well, first of all, they are not robotic.
Okay.
Okay. Marjorie is 85 years old. Okay. Her late husband has been computer generated. He's Walter in his 30s. Her daughter, Tessa, is in her 50s, and she's married to Jonathan, who is also in his 50s. One of those people is not computer generated. And that we will evolve into as the play goes on.
So that is the every play has to have a catch. So that is the catch, which obviously is going to hold people to the end.
We certainly hope so. Yes.
Well, just lock the doors in case.
No, but we have an armed guard, so it's all right.
I'm a big fan of science fiction, and a lot of people forget that about science fiction. They write science fiction off as being something that's not worthy of. But there's been a lot of great science fiction written, and even movies made. I mean, Forbidden Planet. You didn't get in Forbidden Planet, which was a great science fiction movie from the 50s. You didn't find out about whose id was killing people until the very, very end.
Correct.
And I think that's what will make this more enjoyable, because Forbidden Planet didn't have a lot of humor in it, but obviously this show does have some humor in it.
Yes, it does. It has to, because it's about human beings, and human beings can be funny, and they can also be subject to other people's witticisms.
We are speaking with Macey Levin, of course, the Aglettheatre, presenting their next production. Two shows on April 6th at Dewey Hall in Sheffield. As we said, the doors opened at 2 and 7. There's complimentary beverages and refreshments. Then the reading begins at about 2:30 to 7 and 7:30. And then there's a discussion afterwards. And I always like to say, when the reading begins, you are 3 or 4 steps above what a reading is. You really are.
Yeah, well, we rehearse for at least 2 weeks, so that we are as close to a finished performance as possible. In fact, we are almost at the point of being off book. Yeah. That's how familiar we want our people to be. So it's a full rehearsal period, and it's a full tech situation, lighting and sound and all that stuff, so that it has the experience of being almost a full production. In fact, I cannot tell you how many people have said that they watch the show and they soon lose recognition of the fact that the actors have scripts in hand, because they are so comfortable with each other, the actors, that they know how to respond to each other innately.
Marjorie Prime is the show. What's great about this show? When was this show first written?
I believe it was 06.
Well, because now in the in the age of artificial intelligence, it's amazing how this show leaps from 2006 to 2019 and doesn't skip a beat.
And it goes even further, actually.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It is a show that could not have existed 20 years ago.
Now, this show doesn't take a stand on one side or the other of artificial intelligence. It just explains the story and what the ramifications of it can be, right?
Correct. We have to understand that although several of the characters are computer-generated, they're building their sense of humanity so they can relate to the other people in the family.
And the reveal for the computer generated characters comes at the end.
Well, there's sort of a mystery. Little by little by little, there's a clue after a clue after a clue until the full knowledge is realized.
All right, and who are the cast members this time around?
Well, a lot of terrific people, actually. They've all done a lot of work in our area. Darren Bayer, who comes from Lakeville. Joan Coombs, who's out of Stockbridge, and she's worked literally New York, Massachusetts, Vermont, Connecticut. Laurie Evans, who works out of Shakespeare and Company, she comes out of Lenox. And Chris Tucci, it's his first time with us. He's out of Housatonic, and he too has worked all over the place. I've worked with everybody except Chris in the past, and I'm very comfortable with them as actors and non-computer generated human beings.
And as we said, besides the refreshments beforehand, after a play, and I would imagine a play like this will generate quite a bit of discussion afterwards.
I'm sure it will. We have a terrific discussion leader who focuses on the authors and the directors and the cast's intentions. She does not want to get into the gossipy kinds of things. How long did you rehearse? Did you know each other beforehand? No. The intent is to talk about the work.
And how did you first become aware of this work?
Well, when I'm putting the season together, I order around 4,981 scripts. And I just read a lot, and I have certain requirements for the way we work and where we work. It has to be a relatively small cast. It's got to be something that's going to create a very interesting, informative discussion. And it has to be good actors' roles because we want our people to come to us. So after reading, a number of scripts, this just sort of stood out because it is a very relevant contemporary story.
Yeah, absolutely. Now almost a timeless story. 20 years ago, it's imaginary, but now it really is reality.
Remember, we have 3D printers that can make guns.
Well, I guess they probably, if you put a human in there, could probably make a human too as well. That's scary. Well, the show is Marjorie Prime, and it's April 6th, 2 different shows for the Aglet Theatre Company at Dewey Hall in Sheffield. Once again, the doors open at 2 and 7 p.m. for the different shows. The show starts at 2:30 and 7:30. There's a discussion afterwards, beverages and refreshments before that. Tickets, they're available at the door, but they can also get them in advance, right?
Correct. They can either call 860-435-6928 or write aglettheatre@comcast.net, and that's theater with an R-E. Tickets are $30. For students under 18, it's $25.
And if people want more information, by the way, on the web, it's aglettheatre.net, aglettheatre.net on the web.
Right.
Macey, always nice speaking with you.
And you too, Marshall. Thank you.
All right, Macey. Good luck with the show.
Thanks. Take care.
Take care. That is Macey Levin and the Aglet Theatre Company, their production of Marjorie Prime.